What's going on YouTube? JT is Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in this video, we're talking about Batman Detective Comics, issue number 1084. This one is, of course, written by Ram V with the artist Javier Fernandez, and this is Crescendo Part 1 of the really long Orgham family story arc. I mean, I've been talking about this continuous storyline for what, like 2-3 years right now. It's going on way longer than it's expected, and the pacing of it is still pretty slow, but there are genuinely some cool and kind of surprising moments within this issue that kind of left me kind of liking it by the end. There's also a backup written by Alex Packnadell, and Robbie Rodriguez is the artist on that one. This is Cassandra Cain focused one, which I thought that one was pretty cool as well. So the story this time around, not much in terms of huge forward plot progress momentum, but that's been the storyline in a nutshell. They are really prolonging this thing. So basically, at the end of the last issue, Batman returned back to Gotham, confronted Jim Gordon and the Question, and he was whooping some ass, and he has a way, it means to kind of subdue, basically, the Asmers, if you will, and he gives some information about to Renee Montoya, the Question, about like some security footage about like the truth of what happened at the Wayne family graves with the death of somebody. So basically, like I said, the truth will be out there right now. And then we get some kind of flashback stuff to his time in the desert, and we see something that I never actually thought I'd see again in a modern day like DC comic book. That's right, Batman and Talia hooked up once again, and look at that, it's loving and it's consensual. Wow, who'd have thunk it? So I actually did like the way that Ram V kind of writes, you know, Bruce and Talia's relationship in this thing. Like I said, he's spent some time recovering. He's coming out a better recharged kind of guy, and he's ready to go back to Gotham. We also find out that Talia has been working with Lady Shiva to kind of retrieve like the body of Arzen Orgham. Asmir Arzen. Man, why do these names have to sound so similar? But anyway, so like we think like the Orgham Queen had him killed and poisoned. She does intend to kind of bring him back at some point due to a promise she made. But also like within the grave of him, there is that little like music box thing, which is a sign of something from earlier. But anyway, so like I said, Bruce is like, all right, it was clean shaven. It's been fun, Talia. I got to go back to Gotham, and thus he is back in the city talking to Gordon about like, okay, well, the city seems kind of peaceful right now, like what's going on with the dealio right here. But basically, like I said, him and Gordon have a conversation like, yeah, it may look great on the surface, but there is no free will really in this situation. It's not real. It's all kind of based on a bit of a lie, and you know, people aren't actually like really changing. Like I said, it's the Orghams and their whole manipulation thing, and there's a lot of people who are kind of pushed to the side while all this is going on. So it's not fully in the right here. So the Orgham family still doing their plotting stuff. I can't wait till we finish up with the Orghams. I'm so done with them right now. And then Batman does something that's very reminiscent of The Dark Knight Rises. He blows up some stuff on a building, causing thousands upon thousands of dollars in property damage, just so he could create his little like Batman symbol. Like I said, very reminiscent of The Dark Knight Rises, when Christian Bale's Batman's like, light him up. But in that situation, I think that was a little bit, like I said, this one feels a little excessive. But it's just really Batman just letting them know, hey, I'm not going to be subtle anymore. I'm coming for you. There is a war coming. I'm going to take you all down. And we're going to wrap up this really long Orgham family storyline. So there's that. He also goes to have a conversation with Catwoman. He doesn't fully give her some answers on some things, and then she goes, like, kind of revealed at the end she's going to be working with the Joker in some capacity. I guess, is this after the whole, like, fail-safe stuff? Because, like I said, we had something going on with Batman and Joker and that thing, but now he's kind of being brought into this storyline here. So you got that going on. Interesting bit of a cliffhanger. Then in the backup, which is something I really did kind of enjoy, was this thing with Cassandra Cain and her mom, Lady Shiva. So a lot of it was cast. We get to see, like, how she's trying to make herself more like Batman, and like I said, even she kind of has her limits, and it's going to take a toll on her. But her mom basically, you know, in her own kind of like interesting little relationship, it's right there, talks to her about, look, you shouldn't try to be him. You should be like what he wanted you to aspire to be, basically, which is what it all kind of comes down to. But yeah, so Shiva's been working with Talia off to the side. I'm curious to know when like Cass and Damian will find out about that, if that'll like kind of lead to something later on down the road, because it is kind of interesting to see Shiva and Talia, the assassin moms, if you will, working together. But there's some good looking artwork right here, some cool little action bits, and like I said, Pacnadell wrote some interesting stuff between Shiva and Cass, if you will. So that's basically the issue in a nutshell. In terms of the Orgham thing, it still feels like, all things considered, like I said, it's Batman coming back, having a conversation with Jim Gordon. That's kind of the main thing. We also find out that Talia is going to be working with Shiva in some capacity, who's been kind of like getting stuff for her, if you will. Asmir Orgham, or Arzan, like I said, Asmir Arzan, why do they have to sound so similar? Couldn't they have picked something very different? She's seemingly going to bring him back to life. The Orgham family's still there plotting. Batman's just back in Gotham, and he's like, I'm coming for you, Orgham family. And Selina's going to be also working with the Joker. There's so many moving pieces with this thing. It's just been taking a really long time. But in terms of like big, huge, major like forward progress, it still feels like it's going to be a while before this thing wraps itself up. So I feel like I said, you get a little bit, it feels like we're getting closer, and then it's like, oh no, we got more like 5 or 6 issues right here with this thing, and then we got this thing, and then I'm like, oh my goodness gracious, how much longer does this thing have to go on for? But like I said, there's some bits in here that I did like. I did enjoy the artwork. I like the backup with Cass and Shiva, and just kind of seeing that, like, their little interesting bits, like with their relationship right there, and how Cass is acting with a Batman that's, you know, gone, and like how she's trying to honor him to kind of become him. There's a lot of people always want Cass to be like the heir to the cowl. Some people like that, others don't like it, but like I said, it's an interesting bits of like how Cass like wants to honor like how much that symbol means to her. So I like some of that stuff right there. Just kind of cool seeing her do her thing and interact with her mom in some sort of capacity. So there's been some good stuff within the backups, and plus, like I said, it ties into a little plot thread with Talia and Shiva earlier on. And like I said, I'm very surprised that you actually had some happy moments between Bruce and Talia in a modern day, like, in canon Detective Comics issue. Now, we kind of had hints of that. We've had little bits of that and stuff like Shadow War, but here was just like the most we've seen of it in however many years. It seemed they were generally happy to be in each other's presence, which is something which I was good. Yeah, more of that, please. Not necessarily have to be together all the time, but like on better terms, which is more so what it kind of used to be. So I like that aspect to it. It was kind of genuinely surprising to see something like that, because like I said, given all the stuff that's happened over however many years, like I didn't really expect to see moments like that really again, because like I said, you have the stuff that happened with, you know, Morrison's Talia, or various animated feature films, or even in The Dark Knight Rises, where she was just straight up villainous, if you will. It's nice to kind of have more of that classic Bruce and Talia stuff from back in the day. So I appreciate the way Ram V kind of writes that stuff. Yes, the storyline is still going on. I feel like we are finally getting, hopefully, towards the conclusion with this thing, because this has been, with the Orgham family, I just don't find them that interesting as characters in and of themselves. They're not all that exciting. But there's been some interesting stuff, I guess, around it, if you will. I feel like the story, you probably could have trimmed down. Like, if you quickened the pace of it, I think it could have been a lot better. Because, like I said, we're, like 2 to 3 years ongoing with this current arc with the Orgham families, and it just feels like it's just never ending at this point. I mean, I'm glad it's like kept the focus on it, whereas in something like the Nightwing book has just completely forgets about Heartless to take all sorts of random side detours. This whole thing has been fully in, like, the Orghams have been ingrained in it from the get-go. It's been like one giant long-term storyline. I just think the pacing of it could have been a lot better, and I think if you trim the issues down to maybe like you could cut out like 5 or 6 issues of this thing, just and quicken the pace a bit. This could be a much better, like, huge Batman storyline. But like I said, the pacing of it and just how long it's taking to kind of get to like the end of it, just it feels like forever, if that makes sense. Because like I said, I know a lot of people have kind of lost interest in Detective Comics. They're just like, my God, is this thing still going on? Are we like at the conclusion yet? And like I said, my patience is kind of worn thin a little bit with the Orgham stuff, because it feels like, okay, we get maybe like 1 inch of progress, and it's just kind of more of just like, okay, we're going to prolong this some more and prolong it some more. But there are some genuinely good bits in here. Like I said, the stuff with Cass, the stuff with Talia, there's some neat looking artwork in there, so it's not really all that bad of an issue. And like, it's cool to see Batman kind of kick some ass again. He's done with the whole, okay, the desert stuff. He's recharged. He's ready to go. He's ready to kind of come in. I want to see him beat the living hell out of this Orgham family. Like, just pummel the hell out of them. Like, put them in the hospital, like humiliate them, something like that. At least, like I said, I'll give this issue, the storyline, this. Like, I really want to see Batman beat the living crap out of these people, like, and just humiliate them, like, publicly in front of everyone or something like that, especially after the whole, like, public hanging of Batman. Like, have Batman just beat the crap out of them, and then we never have to see them again. That would make me a happy camper. And like I said, if you can kind of build some other things up in the background, like I said, we had some bits with, like, Leon, and then we had the stuff with Cass and her mom. If you can kind of fix, and the way, like, I'll give Ramby this for kind of fixing some of the relationships a little bit, or kind of improving them, like I said, with Bruce and Talia, and seemingly Cass and Sheev and all that. Like I said, that's good stuff I want to see. So there is some good stuff in this thing. I don't know if everyone's going to be a fan of it, but there's definitely some moments worth checking out, and some surprises for me in general. So I will give this issue more of a thumbs up than the last one. But, like, at this point, like, now that we're all back in Gotham, they're throwing in Joker in there at the end. Let's pick up the pace with this thing. Let's really, like, rush towards this kind of finale, and, like, hopefully it delivers a satisfying conclusion, and makes something worthwhile for the 2 years we've spent on this storyline. So that's what I'm hoping for. But what do you all think of this issue? Post your comments down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, hit the bell for notifications, all that fun stuff. That's all I gotta say. I gotta get going. I think I got one more DC comic book review, which is going to be on Green Arrow, and that should be it in terms of those for the week. Perhaps some other related videos coming out this week. I think Crisis Part 2 is supposed to be out, so I'm going to check that thing out. I don't know if it comes out tomorrow or something. I pre-ordered the Blu-ray, so whenever that gets here, I'll just check that thing out. So I'm not, like, mad rushing for it, because the Tomorrowverse has not really, like, been super enthusiastic for me to watch, but that'll be a discussion for another day. But anyways, that's all I have to say. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.